Good evening, everyone.
Microphone's not on. The microphone's not on.
Okay, good evening, everyone. 7:32 on Wednesday. We are going to start our meeting with the pledge, and then we will go into the meeting. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Republic is a nation under God, indivisible.
Trustee Fritchie. Trustee White.
Here.
Trustee Yost.
Oh,
Deputy Mayor Lopez.
Yes.
Mayor Levin.
here.
Okay, Mayor and trustees, announcements, please.
Okay, anybody have announcements? I don't think so. Please be on the lookout for more River Jam events. Last Friday, we had a little bit of rain. Hopefully this Friday, according to the weather report, we should be in pretty good state. And we hope you enjoy it. So I was looking at the calendar, and just a reminder to the public that almost like in the next 6 weeks, almost Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, and some Tuesdays, there are free family fun public events in Ossining. That's a lot. Most communities, they have one big one, a couple of big ones. There are a lot of free events in our waterfront, and there are lots of really fun things also in Market Square. And during Saturdays, when they do the Market Square, with the farmers market, there's always some community organization there. So please enjoy all that our village has to offer. I will say that Ossining, thanks to many of our first responders, village staff, parks, and everybody else, police, really did a great job during the flood that we had. We were not as badly hit. I actually drive across the county to go to work. And there are some areas like the Sawmill, the Taconic, Mamaroneck, I couldn't even get in, where the sound just came up right into people's houses. So these flash floods that are supposed to occur once in who knows when are now occurring 5, 6, 8 times a summer. It actually affects the village directly, and you'll be hearing more about it. I put in my mayor's message I sent on Tuesdays. For the public record, when we talk about planet warming and the water, living on the Hudson actually means that it will affect some of our development as we go forward on the waterfront and beyond. Even single-family homes, we're going to have to be very cognizant in zoning and planning and EAC and all the other committees we have, and the building department to really keep our eye on either overbuilding or developments, which are quite large, how they're building their parking lots and their basements and all the other stuff. So you'll be hearing more about it, but we really are seeing, because flash floods aren't just a weather element change. It's significant because our atmosphere is warming up, so the water stays up there longer. And our drainage system across 9A and 9 and all that weren't designed. They were designed for snow to melt slowly and for less rain in the summer. And we're just not having that. We're having huge floods, creating streams, and our infrastructure can't handle it. And I always say that if you want to do more housing, a message to the governor's office, if you want to do more housing, you have to also supply funding for the infrastructure underneath all that housing, as well as safety and security. So just a little PSA there, since there weren't a lot of announcements, but we're expecting more floods. So please check your houses and apartment buildings and make sure everything's lined up in order. So we're moving on to the first thing, administrative reports, right, Sue?
Yes, administrative reports. Village Manager Karen Dottori.
Good evening, everybody. Not too much to update this week, but next week you'll be getting a full report on all of our major projects, as well as our first half of the year budget finance report and forecast. But really, other than that, the mayor mentioned some of the things I was going to talk about. Are many events? No, it's great. The events we're having, and just so far, it's maybe been a little wet. Thankfully, not too wet this past week in Ossining, but summer's off to a good start. They're enjoying camp and all the other recreational activities we have. And our interns just started last week. And this year, Sue, how many interns do we have total?
In the municipalities, we have about between 12 and 15.
Right. And there's probably at least half that, another 12, 15 or more that are working for different places throughout the village. And those interns were very instrumental, as were our department heads and staff, in organizing the record retention room at the Ops Center. So that meant organizing all our information, maybe some scanning, and of course, shredding of unnecessary documents under the supervision of our village and town clerk. So we're always glad to see the interns. They'll be there for 4 weeks, and we hope to give them a really good experience.
And all the kids are involved with the Youth Bureau, or there are kids from all over?
These are all kids who are from the Youth Bureau, and it's part of a program where the stipend that they get, because they do get paid, these are paid in.
They're all paid, yeah.
Is through a grant that funds their hourly rate. So we're very excited about that. It's a great opportunity for them. It's a great opportunity for us, and a great opportunity for local businesses who are taking advantage of this too.
And you said there were about 14 or 15 of those?
Between all the departments,
Yep.
yep, and the town and the village, yeah.
All right, that's great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I just give a quick shout out to Janisaka, because she really ran that job. I was out last week, so it was well done, and
What are you talking about? Apparently, according to you guys, they just tripled in staff. Should
no,
be-
but getting the record retention, record retention, that whole project that was
There's a lot of paper in
tons of
municipalities.
paper, and you have to put it together. And we already had the shredder truck there for anything that was. There's certain time frames that you have to keep things, and so if it was past that time frame, it went out to the shredder this last week.
And
So,
there is a certain amount of pizza involved.
yes,
That is also
pizza's very
recommended. So it's a lot, and Janet just made sure everything went smoothly.
Right.
And
Well, the kids are great. We have them in the Youth Bureau. That Youth Bureau is up to what, 400 kids or 200? What is it, 200 or 400?
I think about 400 unique, individual,
using different
kids are
programs.
touched by the various programs. And we're getting ready to apply for some more grant funding to continue our after-school program and some of our recreational programs that we're doing, as well as the job training program, which seems to be far and away the most popular for the kids. They're all looking for job training and ability to get that experience and get a little bit of money, and it's not good, going very well, and we
Great.
have good mentors too. So
All good.
okay. Corporation Counsel, Stuart Kahan.
Thank you, Sue. Good evening, folks. Little back office stuff tonight. Chief, I don't think I'm stepping on your toes here. The parking ticket numbers have been increasing dramatically, so that the board should be aware. Last month saw an increase of 600 plus tickets over the same month in the year before, and it has been a steady increase over the past number of months. I mention this also because one of the resolutions tonight will be a change in the fee schedule with thanks to Lieutenant McGovern. We are adding a number of additional VTL violations for parking to the handheld devices relating specifically to license plates and issues relating to the license plates and registration stickers. So if you do not have your registration sticker properly affixed, you would get now a parking ticket from the village with regard to that. So plan most likely to have some additional violations added in as we go on. But my thanks to the lieutenant, the folks at FBS, Maddie, and everyone else, so that we can get those particular things on there and get it as comprehensive as possible. But again, we're seeing a significant uptick in the number of parking tickets that are being written really across the board. We still have the vast majority of tickets relate to the 3 a.m. to 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. slot. But we have a large number written at other times as well. And so my thanks to OPD and my deputy who handles the parking tickets from this end, because volume goes up, but we keep getting them out. Thanks a lot.
Okay, Police Chief Aaron Zimmerman.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Few things, I guess, backing kind of what Stuart was saying. Hopefully next month the numbers go up even more because, fortunately, we finally filled 2 civilian positions. The overnight parking enforcement officer, which is, been trying to fill for quite some time. So that position has been filled, as well as our daytime parking / ACO position has been filled. So the animal control officer, parking enforcement officer is been trained and out on his own now. So hopefully next month the trend continues with the uptick, especially the 3 to 6 a.m., which I know has been hard to maintain without that steady overnight person. So I'm glad those spots are filled. Going along with the enforcement area here, over the last month, we've done several aggressive driving and speed details throughout the town and the village, targeting mainly speed, distracted driving, cell phone use, texting while driving, seatbelt enforcement, aggressive driving, tailgating, things like that. And I know that no one likes getting tickets, and the main goal of vehicle and traffic enforcement is the reduction of motor vehicle accidents. It's not to generate revenue. It's not to write tickets, to, penalize people and be punitive. The goal of traffic enforcement is to reduce the number of accidents. So by making sure everyone is maintaining their speed, using the turn signals, staying off the phone, wearing their seatbelts, to reduce the liability and the damages caused by motor vehicle accidents. And DWI numbers are up. Usually in the summertime, that tends to happen. So be on the lookout for more details going on and checkpoints, making sure that everyone's car is up to snuff, safety-wise, and everyone's maintaining for road etiquette. Other than that, 4th of July went off without a hitch on our end. Little minor weather, interruption, but kept the it kept the hardcore fans in the stands. So after that blew out, ended up being a beautiful night without incident. Nothing to report on our end as far as that. And I hope everyone that was in attendance enjoyed the show. It really was a great night. St. Anne's Fair was complete. St. Augustine's Fair is coming up this week. So be mindful of that on the north end of town. If you're driving at night, there might be a few extra pedestrians on the roadway. We'll have officers out there making sure that, traffic is flowing properly. People are able to cross the road, but be mindful that children may be leaving on bicycles and or walking. So please do your best to drive safely. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Okay.
Organizational announcements. Announcements must be event-related only and shall be no longer than 2 minutes in length. Is there anyone in our audience that would like to speak on an organizational announcement? Is there anyone in our virtual world that would like to raise their virtual hand for an organizational announcement? Moving on to public comment on agenda items. Visitors are accorded a 4-minute opportunity to address the board on any of the resolutions on the agenda. Is there anyone in our audience that would like to speak on that? Seeing no one, is there anyone online that would like to speak that? Please raise your virtual hand. Seeing no one. Visitor recognition. Visitors shall be accorded a 3-minute opportunity to address the board on issues not relating to the agenda, but of relevance to the good of the village. And when you come up, please state your name and address. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Christina Picciano, 50 Eastern Avenue, Ossining. I present here a letter. This was signed by over 90 residents to the Village of Ossining. I'm going to try to abbreviate it for time. The Village of Ossining community stakeholders, we, the undersigned residents of the neighborhood surrounding St. Anne's Church and School, call for a respectful and collaborative effort to address the growing impact of frequent large-scale outdoor events hosted by St. Anne's. Our goal is to not inhibit the community gathering or spiritual celebration, but to ensure that the church's vibrant programming coexists peacefully with the residential quality of life in our neighborhood. We celebrate the diversity of our community and respect the important role that St. Anne's plays for many families. However, the exponential growth of outdoor amplified events, including but not limited to the St. Anne's Fair, soccer tournaments, barbecues, birthday parties, outdoor masses, and parades, has placed an undue burden on nearby residents. These events now contribute to excessive noise, traffic congestion, litter, light pollution, and safety hazards on a near weekly basis, and increasingly throughout the entire year. Many events begin with early morning setup, continue with amplified sound for hours, and extend late into the evening, also followed by teardown and cleanup at disruptive hours of the night. The sheer frequency, duration, and scale of these events have pushed the neighborhood well beyond what is reasonable or sustainable for a residential area. Despite ongoing outreach from residents, our concerns have gone largely unacknowledged or unaddressed. Rather than seeing improvement, we have witnessed an increase in unregulated events year after year. It's time for the village and St. Anne's leadership to work together with residents towards reasonable, sustainable solutions. We are asking for the implementation of sensible, enforceable guidelines to strike a balance between community celebration and neighborhood livability. These include community input and transparency, noise compliance and strict curfews, capacity limits and crowd management, traffic and parking control, cleanup and sanitation accountability. If changes cannot be made, then we advocate for relocation of large-scale events. Events that attract large crowds, such as the St. Anne's Fair, should be moved to more appropriate public venues. Our residential neighborhood is not equipped to absorb not only this level of disruption, but a strain on our power grid in our neighborhood. We believe that religious and nonprofit institutions should be good neighbors, just as residents are expected to be. We are not asking for the events to stop. We are asking for balance, fairness, and respect. It is time for sensible regulations that protect everyone's rights, the right to worship and celebrate, and the right to peace, safety, and quality of life in our homes. Let's work together towards solutions that make St. Anne's events safer, more respectful, and sustainable for the entire Ossining community. Thank you.
Could I have that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have this.
Thank you. Oh, no, I'll take
No,
that.
no,
I'll take,
she wants it for the record. She'll get it to us.
yeah,
We have to, yeah.
yeah, thank you.
Did you send it digitally as well, Christina? That would be great. This is a listening moment, so I just ask for clarity, not for others. Mention, and I hear your frustration, and we understand what you're saying, and I think it's a reasonable request. The question I have, somewhere in there was mentioned to work with the community. So does the community of 90 signers, 90 signatures from the area? Jesse, do me a favor, just move to the left, to my left. Thanks. I can't see her. You have 90 signatures.
Again, I've provided a copy of the signatures. They are all from the area. The majority of them are on Eastern Elizabeth, Churchill, Ellis.
Yeah, that's okay.
Linden.
It was just a question. It could be from anywhere, really.
Yeah,
they
also,
could be from
if
anywhere.
people
That's
were
fine.
from farther away in the village, again, this is a matter of if it happens, it could happen in their neighborhood too, and we're just trying to make sure that this doesn't go.
No, the question that I meant to ask was, it mentions like to work with the neighborhood. Do you have some folks that raise their hand that we can reach out to? Because 90 is a big number. So
Sure,
is
yeah,
there-
yeah,
Are
absolutely.
there some people, I don't know, 5 to a dozen, that if the village manager or I wanted to reach out to, they would work together on
Sure,
this?
yeah, I can
Okay,
get you a
so
list of
have
that,
those
yeah.
names. Okay, great. That was it. I just wanted.
Thank you,
to
appreciate it.
Why
Thank
don't, why don't you put it in your email that you're going to send us the electronic copy of the whole thing?
She may want to speak to people first.
No, no,
before she
yeah,
raises
yeah.
Their hand.
But we'll-
Yeah,
we'll-
yeah, that's
we'll-
all in
we'll
there.
have this
though.
in the
Yep,
minutes.
thanks.
I'm sorry. Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Is there anyone
No?
else? Oh,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, Sue. So that's your job, right?
Name and address?
Pam Carter, 95 Ferris Place. My question is an assignment question, simple. I'm just asking for greater scrutiny in giving out parking permits. I'm on Ferris Place and
Yeah.
we're getting a lot of parking. If they scrutinized how, for example, house next to me had 9 permits issued to 9 cars, and they already had 3 cars in their driveway. That's 12 cars in a 2-family house. If you guys ever stop to think or question people, how can you have 12 cars on one property? You're going to find a lot of the illegal housing. So I know you can't go into illegal housing. They don't let you in, you can't go in, fine. But you can get it with parking, or at least make it a little more difficult.
A woman after my own heart. So I'm allowed to say that. They all have heard me talk about this. That's why they're like going, uh-oh, not a plant. You came here all on your own. So Sue Donnelly, do you know each other?
Met.
Okay. So Sue's office is in charge of lots of this, and she's been working for a couple of years now, changing systems, the tags, there's a process in place. And there's always the issue that people rent. And now in the middle of everything, the renters oftentimes aren't the issue. It's the owner of the building that's oftentimes. So you have to figure out how you want to play this. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
But I would suggest maybe, we're very familiar with Ferris, Dale, and I could name a few others, but you might have some insight that might be helpful. So Sue is the village and town clerk.
Right.
And if you want to give her your information, she might be able to meet with you. I drive down there all the time to look, and also a few other roads. So there might be things we haven't thought of that maybe you can help us with. That would be
Love to work.
super helpful.
I would have applied for the overnight thing, but I babysit my kids. I'm glad they have somebody. Will they also be ticketing on weekends? Okay,
That was the big.
that's
Yeah.
a good thing because right now everybody does whatever they want on weekends because they know nobody's coming in.
It's also, look, I mean, in fairness to everybody, housing is rough all over New York, but especially in the 9-county around New York City area. Expensive, it's rough, it's a lot of stuff going on. I don't have to tell you, I think you understand. So we're trying to do it with some sympathy and empathy to the people who live there and also landlords who rent out there. Not everybody has illegal apartments. Some of them are very legal, but there are kids that came back from college and couples living, all sorts of stuff. But I think what you're saying, if you could maybe talk to Sue, maybe there's something that you know about that specific area that might be helpful.
Yeah.
That we can work on.
And so that you understand with the new enforcement that we have going on too, because we're up to par. Many people, I just want to remind people that if you have a on-street parking, which is referred to as hardship parking, which is what you're talking about, you must park on the street. You cannot park in the municipal lots. We have 3 different kinds of parking. We have railroad station parking, we have muni parking, and we have street parking. It is not the easiest systems, but right now we're done with, we have pretty much automated muni parking, municipal parking, and train station. And we are now taking on the, slowly but surely, taking on the monster that is on-street parking. And we do have some good ideas, but we'd love to have your input.
Yeah.
Please feel free to come by or call me at the office.
And you might know community members that can give us input. We're aware, we've been taking steps. You're hearing the results of some of them. What the attorney is going to be speaking about is plate readers, which we purchased. It used to be for one item, and now we're able to round. Because there's just a lot of stuff going on when you have 30,000 people living.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
Just-
for coming in. Is there anybody else?
Is there anyone in our online world that would like to raise their virtual hand? Okay, moving on to our resolutions. Approval of minutes, June 18th, 2025. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the minutes of the June 18th, 2025 meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Any comments? Sue?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approval of minutes, June 25th, 2025. I would like to remind trustee Fritchie and the mayor that you were not at this meeting. So resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the minutes of the June 25th, 2025 special meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The approval of the minutes, July 9th, 2025, and I would like to tell the deputy mayor that he was not at that meeting. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the minutes of the July 9th, 2025 special meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
I think we forgot to abstain, so you'll put that down. Bob and I. Thank you.
I was ahead of the game this time.
I see that.
She abstained for us.
There we go.
Approval of voucher detail report, July 16th, 2025. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the voucher detail report dated July 16th, 2025 in the amount of $48.03. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in fa-
Comments?
oh, sorry.
Sue?
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the IBWPT, which is the water treatment plant, voucher detail report for July 16th, 2025. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the voucher, the IBWTP voucher detail report dated July 16th, 2025, in the amount of $2,003,062.71. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
All in-
Gail, any major things that brought it to 2 million from the usual happy numbers?
Good evening. Our main general construction had put in a second invoice with the meeting for August being pushed out, so it would be a 3-week span. That's why normally you would only see one large invoice from them each month of payables, but because of the timing of the upcoming meetings, we had them get it in, quickly so that they didn't run into a problem
Got it.
on their side.
Okay, well, that makes sense. And I'm assuming you then pushed it for the rest of the year, what we're going to be looking at as far as payments, right?
Right.
Yes,
Okay,
that's up through June for them.
great. Thank you.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstention?
Abstain.
Thank you, sir. Overgrowth assessment, 7 Hunter Street. Whereas Almondo and Eldina Homan of the owners of 7 Hunter Street, properties 97.07-2-75 property. And whereas pursuant with section 88-88 of the 88-8 of the Village of Austin Code, the owners were notified by the building department of the overgrowth of the property to be removed within 10 days of the notice. And whereas the owners failed to remove the overgrowth, and whereas pursuant with section 88-10 of the code, the village arranged for the overgrowth to be removed. And whereas the overgrowth was removed by Diego's Landscaping and Construction Corporation on May 30th, 2025 at the village's request. And whereas on June 4th, the owners were sent a notice of proposed assessment of cost, and the notice of hearing noted that the total amount was $720 for the invoice of the work performed, $600 plus the 20% administration fee of $120. And whereas the hearing was held on June 18th at the board, and the Board of Trustees discussed the assessment with the property owners, and whereas the Board of Trustees subsequently decided to waive the $120 administration fee, and whereas on July 1st, the Corporation Council wrote to the property owners advising them of the board's decision and that the payment was not received by July 15th, the Board of Trustees would consider a resolution directing payment of $600 be made, and that should the property owners fail to make the payment, the amount due would be added to the next property tax bill. And whereas payment has not been received, and now therefore be resolved that the itemized costs noted below are just and reasonable, and be further resolved that the amount is so assessed if not paid within 30 days after the assessment by this board, an action to recover the amount assessed will be maintained by the village against the property owner, or a special warrant will be issued by the board for the collection of such assessment for the amount thereof, and to be included in the next annual tax levy. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Any comments?
Yeah, just did the homeowner make any attempt to communicate with anybody?
No.
No?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Stuart?
Resolution G 2025 Cabaret License for VIP Sports Bar, Inc., 12 Croton Avenue, Ossining, New York. Whereas pursuant to chapters 100 and 171 of the Code of the Village of Ossining, the authorized representative of the business VIP Sports Bar, Inc., Ossining, New York, presented an application to the village clerk as licensing officer for a cabaret license. And whereas pursuant to sections 100-3 and 100-5 of the code, village clerk caused an investigation into said application, and after receiving the results of the investigation from the finance department, building department, and police department, the application was referred to the Board of Trustees for. And whereas the Board of Trustees reviewed the application at the July 9, 2025 work session, hearing from Corporation Counsel Kahan, And whereas the New York State Liquor Authority issued a temporary retail license to VIP Sports Bar effective June 13th, 2025, and expiring on December 10, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to the code, the Board of Trustees hereby approves a cabaret license for a VIP sports bar as follows. Thursday, 4 p.m. to midnight, Friday and Saturday, 4 p.m. to 1 a.m., Sunday, 4 p.m. to midnight. There'll be no cabaret operations on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Be it further resolved that this cabaret license is issued subject to the following conditions, which conditions are also part of Refreshment License 69, issued on July 2, 2025. The license is good through December 10, 2025. Prior to the expiration date, a New York State liquor license shall be provided to the license officer. Licensee agrees that none of the former owners or managers of Serenita Lounge, formerly located at 12 Croton Avenue, will work at VIP Sports Bar in any capacity. Licensee will provide to the license officer and Corporation Counsel documents confirming that employees serving alcoholic beverages and security personnel have successfully completed a recognized New York State Liquor Authority Alcohol Training Awareness Program, ATAP. ATAP certification shall be kept current. Alcohol cannot be served as volume discount. For example, no sales of buckets or bottles of beer, or buckets of bottles of beer. Licensee will advise the license officer and Corporation Counsel. The manager will be hired, or if VIP Sports Bar will be managed by a principal. Managers shall be identified prior to commencing operations. Licensee will communicate with Captain Donahue and/or Lieutenant McGovern of the Ossining Police Department no less than once a month to discuss any operational issues. Licensee will provide the license officer with insurance carrier names and policy numbers for workers' compensation and disability insurance. And finally, prior to commencing operations, the licensee will provide the license officer and Corporation Counsel with the names of employees. List of employees shall be kept current. And further resolve, the licensee may request from the village manager an extension of hours for the operation of the cabaret for a specific event on no more than 2 dates for the expiration of the temporary retail license on December 10, 2025, on a showing of good cause. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? So Stuart, this isn't or, every single bullet has to be met, right? It's not,
Yes, Mayor.
okay, so every single, because it's pretty precise.
Yes.
And because it's new, the police have no records of it, but the police are going to be informed. And I see all the things that we've discussed.
That's correct. I also believe that there may have been contact as early as this week with some folks in the police department by the owner
Okay,
in regard to some of the issues that are here. The location was in operation this weekend, but not as a cabaret.
okay. Great.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Lease agreement with Ossining Steamer Company, Inc. Resolved that the following review of Corporation Counsel, the village manager is authorized to sign a lease agreement with the Ossining Steamer Company, Inc. for a one-year term commencing April 1st, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Any comments? I just want to let the public know, we're not going to have a big discussion. A lot of these go flying by because previous week we discussed many of these issues. They're on video. There's no need to be redundant, but if you want to see conversations regarding any of these, please look at the video from last week.
All in favor?
Aye.
Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad New York Scenic Byway nomination and courier management plan adoption. Whereas the historic qualities of the Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad New York Scenic Byway is described in the corridor management plan, and the surrounding areas have been appreciated and celebrated for over a century by the residents of New York State, as well as tourists, historians, artists, authors, and other visitors to the region. And it is a unique combination of journeys of Harriet Tubman and those freedom seekers who traveled on the Underground Railroad that create a special sense of place that is vital in telling the New York story of the human desire for freedom and the historical sites they utilized during their journey to emancipation. And whereas the steering committee of the Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad New York Scenic Byway composed of representatives of 22 counties along the proposed scenic byway route, committed to working cooperatively to protect and promote the historical, scenic, recreational, and economic well-being of the 544-mile corridor throughout the state, have agreed to pursue the nomination of the Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad, New York State Byway. And be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining support the designation of the Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad, New York Scenic Byway, which includes programs for stewardship and enhancement to the historical scenic byway and guidance to manage future activities along the corridor. And be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining confirms that the village will not approve any request for new off-premises outdoor advertising signs along the designated Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad, New York Scenic Byway route. And be it further resolved that the intent of the limitations regarding outdoor advertising sign is to prohibit permitting any new commercial billboards and outdoor signs containing advertisement unrelated to any use or activity on the premises where the sign is located. And be it further resolved that the Village of Ossining will work with the partnership with all the other municipalities along the Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad, New York Scenic Byway, and local and regional stakeholders in order to support the future byway programs, economic development, marketing, and collaborate with the interested entities to explore the opportunities for cooperation to realize the scenic byway goals. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any comments? I think we made the comments last week. This is pretty cool.
Pretty cool, is right. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Referral for proposed zoning text amendment to the planning board. Whereas pursuant with section 270-59 of the Village of Ossining Code, this chapter or any part thereof may be amended, supplemented, or repealed from time to time of the by the village board on its own motion and upon recommendation by the planning board prior to the public hearing. Every proposed amendment shall be referred to the village board, to the planning board for a report, which shall be rendered within 62 days of such referral. And whereas the Board of Trustees is considering an amendment to Chapter 270 zoning, Section 270-22, RDD, Riverfront Development District, and Appendix A, use tables. Now, therefore, be it resolved that pursuant with Section 270-59 of the Village of Ossining Code, the Board of Trustees refers the proposed zoning code amendments to the Planning Board, and be it further resolved that the Planning Board shall issue a report on the proposed amendment changes to the Zoning Board within 62 days of this referral. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? Anybody?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. DPW bid award, materials, supplies, and services for the period of July 17th, 2025 to June 2nd, 2027.
July 2nd.
I apologize. July 2nd, 2027. Whereas the New York state law provides for a municipality to advertise and award bids to certain materials, supplies, and services as specified therein through the use of a biannual bid process, which allows for the purchase of such items to be at fixed cost to the municipality. And whereas the Village of Ossining has in place a procurement policy which provides for purchasing and acquisition of certain materials and services by the village as required by New York state law. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby awards the bids for materials, supplies, and services in accordance with the attached recommendations from the Department of Public Works, which recommendations were circled, and be it further resolved that the aforementioned award for materials, supplies, services are in effect from July 17th, 2025 through July 2nd, 2027. The whole bid process and the awards will be posted on the clerk's bulletin board and will be posted on the webpage. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any comments? Sue?
All in favor?
hold
Oh,
on.
sorry.
I just, because it just came out. I don't think.
It is.
So, just kind of curious about how much of a general increase was there in the costs for this bid period versus the previous bid period? I mean, I'm sure it's all over the place, right? Generally. I'm just kind of curious as to just thinking about impact.
Good evening. It's really just a best guess because there's a smorgasbord of things that we bid on there between materials and labor. I could tell you most of the labor bids went up approximately 5 to 10%, and the materials bid, some of them stayed fairly close because it was only 2 years ago when maybe things started to level off a little bit. Some of the materials increased incidental percentage. I don't think anything was really extraordinary this year. One thing I will add, though, is I need to recognize Karen Doherty from the office for working with Stuart to put these documents together. It's a tremendous effort. The village has been advertising our bids in different venues. So there's getting a lot of outside attention for just not just our capital projects, but now our annual bid documents that we send out every 2 years. So the competitive nature of these bids helps keep some of those costs steady. You know, when the more people that bid, or the more competitive it gets. So it's a monumental effort. The bid opening is a monumental effort, which we do with the clerk's office. I know that's not an easy day down there when we open it, but it ran pretty well, and we're happy with the results. There's a lot of things that are into the bid documents this year that haven't been in there in the past because the state's required some registrations now that all our contractors have to have. So we have to check all of that. You know, and there's insurance and front end type paperwork that we do as well. But to your question, not more than consumer price index or any inflation factors, I would say.
And just to piggyback on that for 1 second, there were many more bidders for every item than we had 2 years ago. So 2 years ago, everybody was flush. So this was very much more competitive this year.
Good. It's good. It's good. And
Thank you.
thanks for the work. I mean, obviously, still hours and hours and hours of effort, and 8 pages of numbers, and sure that not a simple task to do. Thank you.
It's worth it. Maybe you don't know because you're newer to the board, but this used to be an annual bid.
Yeah.
And it became it seemed like by the time you finish with one, you'd be preparing for the next. So we made it biannual. That was a tough thing during COVID because a lot of contractors didn't want to hold their price for a 2-year stretch when inflation was really booming. So we made some adjustments to some contracts based on some documents that we worked out with legal. But we don't anticipate having to do that this year. We think that things are going to work out pretty smoothly.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Changes to the 2025 fee schedule. Resolved that the Village of Ossing's 2025 fee schedule for stopping, standing, parking, and other municipal miscellaneous violations is revised as follows, effective July 17th, 2025. There's a list of, it's not too many, so I'm going to read them. Number plates to be kept clean so that it can be easily read is a $75 fine if you don't. Number of plates not knowingly covered or coated or concealed to obscure plates, $200 fine. Number of plates not to be covered by glass or any material appearing to be a number plate, fake plate, $200 fine. Number plate not to be obstructed by any part of the vehicle except for the transmitter issued in connection with the toll collection, $200 fine. Failure to affix or properly display registration sticker, $50 fine. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Any comments? Again, discussed last week in the meeting.
Uh,
You have a comment, Chief?
I have a quick question as to clarity. On VTL 4021B2, the $200 fine right below 75, number plates not.
I added a word. We'll change it.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Proofreader.
Oh, knowingly.
Hold on, they haven't finished yet. Not actually.
No. But you
But
can
that
ask,
doesn't
you can
stop
ask
you-
me when you come to see me.
But that,
It's number plates knowingly covered by coated or concealed to obscure plates. That, it's knowingly, if they knowingly cover it, correct?
Right.
Sir?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. I'm gonna do another, I would like a motion to do the amended, resolution. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
as amended, second.
As amended,
yeah.
right? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
You can email the board or the clerk and ask your question, or the chief. They're all listed on the website. If you have
Right.
questions or comments, please feel free to email anybody, and your question will be answered.
Yeah.
What's up?
Excuse me, Resolution M. A resolution authorizing the implementation of a multimodal transportation hub project in and for the village of Ossining, Westchester County, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $21 million, and authorizing, subject to permissive referendum, the issuance of $21 million serial bonds of said village to pay the cost thereof. Whereas all conditions precedent to the financing of the capital project hereinafter described, including compliance with the provisions of the State Environmental Quality Review Act, have been performed, and it's been determined that said capital project is a Type 1 action as to which a negative declaration has been made. And whereas it is now desired to authorize the financing of said capital project, now therefore be it resolved by the affirmative vote of not less than 2/3 of the total voting strength of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining, Westchester County, New York, as follows. The implementation of a multimodal transportation hub project at the Brandreth Street parking lot downtown, including original furnishings, equipment, machinery, apparatus, appurtenances, and site work, and incidental improvements and expenses in connection therewith in and for the Village of Ossining, Westchester County, New York, is hereby authorized, subject to permissive referendum, at a maximum estimated cost of $21 million. Plan for the financing of the aforesaid maximum estimated cost is by the issuance of $21 million serial bonds of said village, hereby authorized to be issued, therefore, pursuant to the provisions of the local finance law, provided, however, that the amount of bonds to be issued shall be reduced to the extent of grants received in connection therewith. It is hereby determined that the period of probable usefulness of the aforesaid specific object or purpose is 30 years, pursuant to subdivision 11A of paragraph A of section 11.00 of the local finance law. It is hereby further determined that the maximum maturity of the serial bonds herein authorized exceed 5 years. This resolution shall constitute a statement of official intent for purposes of Treasury Regulations, section 1.152. Other than as specified in this resolution, no monies are or are reasonably expected to be reserved, allocated on a long-term basis, or otherwise set aside with respect to the permanent funding of the object or purpose described herein. Upon this resolution taking effect, same shall be published in a summary form in the official newspaper of said village for such purpose, together with a notice of the village clerk in substantially the form provided in section 88.00 of the local finance law. This resolution is adopted subject to permissive referendum. This will be a roll call vote. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
And just in the comments, Stuart, can you do a brief definition of the kind of resolution this is so the public understands what a permissive referendum is?
Okay. This is a bond resolution, and pursuant to the local finance law, a permissive referendum means that there is a 30-day period in which members of the public can make a request for a referendum with regard to the bond. So that's the 30-day, in essence, we call a 30-day estoppel period.
Okay.
You want to?
Yeah. Trustee Fritchie,
Aye.
trustee White,
Aye.
trustee Yost,
Aye.
deputy mayor Lopez,
Yes.
and Mayor Levin.
Decidedly,
Yes. Thank you. Okay, fire department appointment, Ossining Hose Company. Resolved that sorry, my phone. Resolved that upon recommendation of the Fire Chief, Patrick
Mallory.
Mallory, Ossining, I should know that. Ossining, New York was elected as an active firefighter, member of the Ossining Hose Company Number 1. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Sue?
All in favor?
Aye.
Fire Department appointment, Washington Hook and Ladder Company Number 2. Resolved that upon recommendation of the Fire Chief, the following members of the Ossining, New York, were elected as active firefighters at the Washington Hook and Ladder Company Number 2. Brendan Tipan and Joseph
Walpa.
Walpa. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Fire Department appointment, Ossining Steamer Company. Resolved that upon recommendation of the Fire Chief, Brian Tenesela, thank you, sir. Ossining, New York was elected as an active firefighter, member of the Ossining Steamer Company. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there any continuing business of the board?
Is there?
Is there any new business of the board? Are we going to executive session?
We're going into exec session.
Okay. So do I have an adjournment into exec session for?
Matter of personnel involving corporations.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. It's 8:25. We're going into exec session. We will be back next week for a regular session. Have a good evening. Good night.